Good evening, I'm Greg Kerr.
And I'm Kelly Phillips. Thank you for joining us. When you elect city officials to office, you expect them to handle city business, especially your tax dollars, properly. Here at KFDM News, we like to keep them honest.
Yes, KFDM's Justin Hinton takes a look at 2 trips taken by one Port Arthur councilman and how your tax dollars were spent. Justin, what did you find about these trips?
Well, the National League of Cities hosts 2 conferences every year, the Congressional City Conference and the Congress of Cities. One conference allows council members to learn what legislation will affect their cities and in turn lobby their congressional representative. The other prepares them with ideas to better serve their city. Port Arthur Councilman Willie Lewis says the trips are justified because they serve educational purposes and he can bring back new developments to Port Arthur. I took a look at how much money was spent on the 2 trips and in the process discovered one very unique charge. At a Port Arthur City Council meeting, you can find Councilman Willie Bay Lewis calling into question money spent.
I would like to have a complete audit of the contingency fund, and I would like to also have a complete audit of the council's fund balances to it and all the expenditures.
But a couple trips of his own have raised some questions after we uncovered 2 trips with the same organization and just 4 months apart cost taxpayers more than $6,000. According to documents we've obtained, in November 2013, Councilman Lewis stayed in the Hyatt at Olive 8 in Seattle, Washington for the National League of Cities Conference. Taxpayers spent about $270 per night for 3 nights, totaling just over $800. Another $800 went to his round-trip ticket, and about $1,000 went to food and other conference-related charges. Lewis's itinerary indicates he was scheduled to take a shuttle from Houston Intercontinental Airport to Jack Brooks Regional Airport. Instead, taxpayers reimbursed him an additional $230 for a cab ride from Houston to Port Arthur, bringing the total cost of that trip to more than $2,800. 4 months later, in March, he took another trip, this time staying at the Marriott Wardman Park in Washington, D.C., for another National League of Cities conference. This one, the Congressional City Conference, cost taxpayers even more, $3,365.95.
Executive session at 9:53 a.m.
Right before executive session at a council meeting, we asked Lewis about these charges. Do you look at this before you decide that you take the trip, or is this, it costs this and so I'm just going to go ahead and go?
No, I don't consider the cost.
Do you feel that you should? I mean, this is taxpayer money that goes into this.
And that is correct. It has been budgeted and it's been authorized.
Another thing that
do you understand budgets? Do you understand budgets?
I do understand budgets.
That's approved at the council has a budget that's approved for training, for continuous education. That is approved at the budget time.
Right, but just because something is budgeted doesn't necessarily mean, though, that needs to happen for taxpayers to be giving that much money towards that.
This is done at budget time, and we have public hearings and what have you to consider all these items that goes into the budget. That is standard procedure.
I also asked him about that $230 cab ride.
When I got back to Houston, it appeared that someone deliberately did not schedule the shuttle, and that all came through the mayor's office. Now go ask the mayor why she didn't schedule the shuttle.
According to this document, Mayor Dolores Prince's secretary did in fact schedule the trip, which included a shuttle from Houston to Jack Brooks Regional Airport.
Now, I waited 3 hours looking for a shuttle, making phone calls. No one answered. So I made a decision to get a cab.
Why not rent a car?
Well, look, a rental vehicle for one day would have been about $300. Yeah, costs a lot. For one day, and you rent that vehicle in Houston International Airport and bring it to Port Arthur, and you'd have to drop it off in Beaumont. It runs about $300, anywhere from $260 to $300.
That would be believable if you were probably 1 or 2 years old. But as an adult, we know better than that. It would have cost him probably $50 to rent a car, and he knows that. It would have cost probably $50.
We checked with a couple of rental agencies to see how much it would cost to rent a car out of Houston. Turns out it would cost $125.60 for Hertz, $83.30 for Budget, and $87.84 for Avis, though those estimates could change depending on availability. Still, Lewis blames Prince and her secretary.
Had the mayor scheduled the shuttle, It would have been a lot cheaper.
The meeting ended, and the mayor went to talk to Lewis about his accusations, but their private conversation turned public as their voices carried inside council chambers with no compromise in sight. A spokesperson for United Airlines tells us Councilman Lewis's bus departed on time that evening. The city originally told us the bus was overbooked and the city received a refund. Well, the airline spokesperson says that's not entirely true. She says, according to airline records, the bus was not overbooked. She would not disclose any information surrounding the refund due to privacy concerns. Now, the city is checking its records as well as those provided by the airline for documentation that shows it did, in fact, receive a refund. Kelly?